How to certify correctly is not something I'm seeking for, but how to certify meaningfully, I think is something that I was really keen on understanding.
Yeah, I carried great understood organic consciousness, or what I call it as uh, for example, the European regulation, as it is written, for the cultural background of Europe. uh, For many people say that they get into an organic space, but for me, I was born into an organic world.
One very important thing I would say that being fair to the system, to the clients, to the farmers, everybody, and then also being fearless at the same time, right? It's the whole ecosystem that is involved to bring that product to life is a part of that certification scheme. It's not just the product. So the life it passes through that product.
When you look at the agency as a farm,
I see Eko Guarantee fitting into a very important space.
Hello, today we are joined with Dr. Salvam Daniel and Nitika Gupta, who is the CEO of Eko Guarantee. Hello, thank you for joining me today. The theme of today's podcast is how mentorship has built entrepreneurship and a successful certification company. So, I would like to ask you, Nitika, if before Eko Guarantee existed, you approached Dr. Salvam Daniel as a mentor. What were you looking for that you felt was missing in the certification space?
Yeah. So even before, I wanted to understand more about how to certify. I was looking to understand integrity, with ethics. So how to certify correctly is not something I was looking for, but how to certify meaningfully, I think is something that I was really keen on understanding. So when I met him, I understood that certification is very procedural with a lot of checklists and audits. But then there comes a huge responsibility. The farmers comes with risk and the organizations come with responsibility. And there is a big gap, that is bridged between the farmers and the ultimate, the sellers is certification. So certification being done consciously and being done ethically is something what I was looking to understand from him.
So you met Nitika after leaving EcoCert and were deeply involved in ecology forte. So what made you choose someone to mentor in the certification space?
yeah, I carried a great repository of certification knowledge, not only as working in EcoCert, but also I did my PhD in eco labeling, which is a part of my study on life cycle analysis and my research on life cycle analysis. So, this huge repository of knowledge, I did not want it to be idle somewhere. It has to be, passed on. So, when Nitika approached for initiating a certification program, I felt that there is a burning desire or passion with her, which came out, which was evident when she wanted to start this certification program, which, as she calls it, as meaningful to the industry. This is what also I have understood, that people wanted to start certification program for various interests, interests of accuracy, interests of integrity, but there is one element which was missing in most of the people whom I was in contact, was the people who understood organic consciousness, or what I call it as ecological consciousness. You see, I've been telling people all the time, it's impossible to grow organic unless the farmer is organic. It is impossible to process organic unless the person behind is organic. So it's all about an organic consciousness, which I will also call it as an ecological intelligence. So what I could see in Nitika is an intelligent person, but ecologically intelligent.
So, when did you feel this mentorship was turning into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so it wasn't very dramatic. So it was really gradual process. It's taken us years for us to come to this position. So slowly the question and answers, they stopped. The question and answer round that kept going on between me. I used to ask him 10 questions a day: how to do this, how to do that, what is right, what is wrong. Slowly it turned into more of decision making. I started making judgments, and from his end he started respecting the difference of opinion. It was an agreement to disagreement, and then I started taking more of judgmental decisions in the process that was happening. And that is when I realized that it is beyond just learning and mentorship. So it's not something that I'm going separating him from him as a mentor relationship, but it was taking up more leadership roles, and then taking it as a responsibility towards the system of certification. So it was developed more from just learning from each other to contributing to that system with what I had belief in me that I can bring to the table. So that's how it progressed. It was very gradual, it was very slow. And then he let me take decisions, he let me make mistakes, So that's how it developed.
So there's a lot that can be passed down through technical knowledge and ethics and judgment. But what have you been able to pass down in this mentorship that is not in the manual of certification?
Yes, as I told you, knowledge, information, all these kind of things related to certification and organic certification already exist. But what really is missing from the industry, of certification industry, is to understand how you understand the lifestyle of an organic farmer. What is the aspiration of an organic consumer? How does the organic consumer ever live, want to live? And how can we satisfy the needs of the organic fraternity? You see, just doing a couple of paperwork and doing the certification as a routine, mundane matter, you will just end up in churning out certificates. Maybe you will bring out good, right certificates. As she said, meaningful certification can only happen when we understand the person behind the product. Person behind the product who is maybe a farmer and also a consumer. So I think that is where my mentorship is.
You built EcoCert from scratch. So what are the lessons that you learned that helped you build Eko Guarantee?
Okay, my contribution for the growth of Eko Guarantee, of course, a lot of experiences which I had in EcoCert was really useful in mentoring Nitika. Now, what I learned in EcoCert as a process of my learning is the cultural background of organic production is quite different in different geographies. For example, the European regulation, as it is written, for the cultural background for Europe, it needs to be adapted for Indian conditions. And even in India, what would happen in Rajasthan is completely different from what happens in Tamil Nadu.
True.
So this cultural background in organic production is one thing which I learned in EcoCert, that how do I tune the European regulation to cultural situations in different parts of India. and that I think has been meaningfully translated into Eko Guarantee.
Through this mentorship and building of Eko Guarantee, how were the daily, day-to-day audits and discussions and disagreements, how did they come about?
So there were days when we used to discuss like long, deep discussions, a lot of disagreements, lot of developments of documents, scheme, process, procedures. So it's never like a one-day activity, it's a long process of this whole activity that has turned out to be. It's taken us years, 6-7 years of developing the ethics behind our organization. Like what I can summarize is the very 3 important things that I've learned out of this association is that ethics have to survive and surpass the pressure. So we cannot bend our ethics and mend our ethics anywhere. Whether it is the pressure coming from the system, it is coming from the clients, it's coming from the process, the ethics must be as is. And that was the debate all the time. There are certain, time periods when you're under pressure, you want to deliver, you want to do this, you want to do that. But what has come out of our discussions is that prime importance is delivering with meaning, like we said, and that comes only with ethics. And see, certification is, documents don't make certification, right? Decisions are taken by humans, judgments are made by humans. Even if everything is correct on papers, correct in the process, it's still the human being, that is making the judgment that decides the ultimate authority to certify that person, yes or no. So it's evolved, it's been a long journey wherein, a lot of discussions, a lot of, I think, things have happened at our company level to come to this level.
At what point did you both realize that this mentorship is changing from a learning experience to building an institution and a more commercial experience?
Yeah, see, all this certification program has no meaning if it is not rolled out commercially. Right? People should benefit, both the farmers, the processors, everybody involved in the value chain, and ultimately the customer. So our job in the certification is to build confidence, build trust between those people who don't see each other. Right? So I think if we keep building a system which is not in the marketplace, it becomes meaningless.
And then the fruit of that, the system, the process, the fruit that comes cannot be really, taken into anybody's kitty if we are really not bringing it into the system.
What does it take to let someone build an institution of their own while also honoring the lineage of knowledge that you bring to the table?
Carry an organic legacy, a lineage. Many people say that, for many people say that they get into an organic space. But for me, I was born into an organic world. So that makes a big difference because I carry my father's work into organic standards, his work into IFS, etc. And I carry that legacy, I carry that lineage as well as that legacy. And how do I mentor a person and make that person to build an institution that reflect the lineage and the legacy that I carry is a great responsibility for me because I'm practically handing over something which has come out in my generations that I'm just passing on to Eko Guarantee and through Nitika. So this burden is too much, right? So many times I look at Nitika and I look at her like a student, I look at her as a child, I look at her as a mature businesswoman, and she's a combination of all that, which enables me to mentor her into that lineage and that legacy.
Yeah. As the CEO of Eko Guarantee, what are your biggest challenges that you see in the certification space?
Okay. I think the first is building the public trust. When you are into certification, it comes with a claim, right? That the consumer who's consuming that product is consuming because it is coming from a process of certification. I think that is something it brings a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. It's very difficult, to live up to that claim. And that is one of the biggest challenges, that to develop that public trust, that if X company is certifying that, the trust is there that this is certified in the correct manner. And then one very important thing I would say, that being fair to the system, to the clients, to the farmers, everybody, and then also being fearless at the same time, right? You can't always be fair and take fearless decisions. Sometimes you tend to be unfair to those people, but those decisions are important to be taken to develop that public trust, right? To be into that system. So the biggest challenge is, I'll just repeat, it's being fair and then taking fearless decisions, at the same time developing that public trust that comes.
What do you think certification institutions should focus on in the coming decade to remain relevant in the market?
I think they should concentrate on justice, right? So most of the certification programs which are coming around, they look at ecological justice, economic justice, and these two justices are becoming very, very important. Of course, ecological justice is already a big part of organic. But when it comes to economic justice, there is a whole arena of fair trade principles which needs to come in. And I think what we are trying to, what Eko Guarantee is trying to roll out is a combination of justice programs meant for ecology as well as for economy. For example, they are into forest stewardship council FSC certification, which involves a lot of economic justice as well as ecological justice. All the non-GMO organic focusing on ecological justice, and the new programs focusing on rainforest alliance, for example, is a great focus on a combination of both ecology as well as economic justices.
I would like to add that, what people resonate with certification is usually the product, right? It's not just the product, it's the whole system, like he's saying, which includes the social systems, the environmental systems, the ethical systems, everything. It's the whole ecosystem that is involved to bring that product to life is a part of that certification cycle. It's not just the product. It's the life it passes through, that product. Where it is living, it's human. It's somewhere it's human.
If a young person is watching this today, what would you tell them if they were wondering if certification was right for them?
See, firstly, it is not a glamorous thing. It's not something that, it's very easy, that you just jump into the system and then from day one you understand the system or you're making money. No. You really have to be passionate about the subject. You really have to understand why you need to certify and how you need to certify correctly, right? So, if you really have that honesty in you and you can really, work with that ethical mindset, that is the only reason that should be there in your mind to get into certification. Not seeing it as just a commercial activity, just bringing money, earning money. It's all incidental. I think first is having understood the cycle of how certification flows, the responsibility you hold on your shoulders, and the integrity with which you will deliver it to. Otherwise, it's meaningless. It's just another piece of paper that you will issue. So,
to add on what Nitika is saying, the youth perspective towards certification is very important in this new era of Gen Zs.
yeah.
See, the Gen Zs look at product, they want a lot of information. They require huge ton of information. And I think the challenge today for the certification program is to give information in terms of traceability, in terms of geotagging, in terms of telling that this product is made by whom. I think Gen Zs are more and more
Aware, I think
and
they're hungry for that information, basically.
So I think our certification programs and Eko Guarantee is focusing on that. Then when you look at it as a Gen Z as a farmer and how a Gen Z, a youth should respond to certification, I think there, I think we are not just interested in making them to just fill data. I think Eko Guarantee is more involved in involving them actively in the certification programs. So
I'll just add on to this that respecting farmers is very important if anyone to come into certification. If farmer doesn't agree to grow organic, if they don't agree to grow vegan or non-GMO or comply to standards, there is no meaning to the whole system. So unless they respect the farmers and they understand where it begins, because the cycle begins from the farm level. So the youth really have to have that passion of understanding. Then only they can grow.
After 10 years of building this company and your mentorship with Dr. Salam Daniel, what do you see is the vision for Eko Guarantee going forward?
Yeah. So I see Eko Guarantee holding a very important space into the whole ecosystem of certification, be it organic, be it non-GM, vegan, be it sustainable certifications like FSC and RFA. So I believe Eko Guarantee should develop as an organization which can create a flagship legacy again. I would really want to follow the footsteps of Dr. Selvam and how he took the certification system to another whole level, creating all the value chains, creating the ethics again at the same time with integrity and a lot of empathy towards the whole system. I see Eko Guarantee following suit and developing in a similar manner, and with all the knowledge that we currently have, and amending it with the changes that has taken place over the period of time from maybe 2005 and up till now. I see it evolving in a space wherein we can deliver with a lot of more integrity to the industry. So I see Eko Guarantee fitting into a very important space into this industry. Definitely following suit, what legacy that he's taking, and he's probably transferring it to people like me and other more important stakeholders. I also see Eko Guarantee evolving into creating capacity building in terms of the FSC certification systems, the RFA, which is Rainforest Alliance, and Forest Stewardship Council, creating models of sustainable agriculture, on the field within India, and taking the entire learning experience beyond the geography of India. Like we are now expanding to the East African regions and other Asian countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, wherein we believe that we can create a similar ecosystem of certification and capacity building and all these important standards which adhere to all the compliances and justify all the environmental factors.
This conversation is not just about certification, but how knowledge is passed down from experience to younger generations who want to take forward justice and integrity of the whole ecosystem and the organic system. So thank you, Dr. Salam Daniel and Eko Gupta, for joining us today with this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.